And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022. Dr. Campos?
Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing roll call and quorum for today. We have President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Corzan. President Garcia, you do have a quorum at this time. Currently, we do have one caller on the line under general public comment. We also received one commentary through our Google online commentary form on item number 1 for today's agenda. There is no public commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. At this time, again, President Garcia, we do have one caller for general public comment, and we received one comment via our online commentary form for item number 1 that will be distributed to all commissioners in a few seconds.
Great, thank you. Let's start with general public comment.
Absolutely, thank you, President Garcia. Samantha Strelitz, good morning. If you can unmute your microphone at this time by pressing *6, or you can click the unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, everyone.
You will have 2 minutes to speak under general public comment. Please
Wonderful.
go ahead. And Samantha, before you start, we did receive your comment also on item number 1, I believe.
I'm just sort of trying everything. I've had a lot of technical difficulties trying to do this, so my apologies. But good morning, everyone. I'm Sam. I was actually on the Zoom last Wednesday, but my audio, again, was not really working. I've had Wi-Fi issues. Anyway, I wasn't able to share my remarks regarding item 2 on the agenda, which was empowering the Bureau of Engineering to terminate revocable permits. I submitted a comment again through Google form, and I followed the meeting with an email to each of you, and I'm here again today to make a statement. I find it concerning that the Board of Public Works, who's a group of elected officials voted in to represent the interests of their communities, would delegate their responsibilities to non-elected officials like the Bureau of Engineering staff who may not live anywhere near the communities that are being affected by these decisions. Empowering a department that does not answer to the public removes transparency from the process and the community's ability to have a platform to speak on those decisions. On the Zoom meeting, the Bureau of Engineering's primary argument for taking over those responsibilities was to save money, but the due diligence that goes into presenting these decisions before the board is funded by taxpayer money. Additionally, when you have a revocable permit, it's the duty of the permit holder to maintain the street. And these permits are over 30 years old, which means the streets have not been repaved for over 3 decades. And my question to that is the city prepared to spend that type of money? I read that there's a caveat in these proceedings whereby the board can reconsider decisions that have been made, and I'm hoping on behalf of the communities you were elected to serve, you will make a move to reconsider your position. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Samantha, for your comments. Okay. This takes us now to, this is the end of public comment, by the way, right, Dr. Campos? We don't have any more on the queue?
That is correct. We can go ahead and close general public comment.
General public comment has officially been closed. Thank you. This takes us now to our first item of business, the approval of the minutes from Wednesday, March 9th of 2022. Is there a second to my motion to move this item forward?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. There's a first by me and a second by Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos.
Thank you, President Garcia. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulations, and we'll start with you. Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam President, would you like to move this item forward forthwith?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Great. Moving on to agenda item number 1. This is, we do have was this an online public comment on this one, Dr. Campos?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have anybody speaking then. Got it. Okay, this is a bid. This is item number 1, a bid at 10 a.m. Bids will be received at 10 a.m. for the following public works projects. This is Council District 9, Tiny Home Village, Compton, and Nevin. 2621 South Nevin Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90011. WOEI E1908885, estimate of $4,476,400 in Council District 9. Dr. Campos, do you have our bids ready?
We do. Thank you, President Garcia. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Again, we're opening up the bids. We did receive 3 bids for this project. Again, this is for the Council District 9 Tiny Home Village, Compton and Newen. We will go ahead and start opening up the bids. Again, we received 3 bids in total. The first bid received for this project is from Access Pacific Incorporated for a total bid amount of $3,897,323.75. And that is 3897323.75 from Access Pacific Incorporated. The second bid received for this project is from Ford EC Incorporated for a total bid amount of $4,297,453 even. That's 4297453 from Ford EC Incorporated. For the record, line item number 12 has been lined out by the contractor and it has been initialed. The third and final bid received for this project is from CS Legacy Construction Incorporated for a total bid amount of $3,805,456 even. That's 3805456 from CS Legacy Construction Incorporated. Madam President, that concludes the bid openings for today's project and today's agenda as well. And for the record, I do have Mr. Matthew Castellanos, who is opening up the bids with me in dual custody.
Great, thank you. And thank you, Matthew, for your time as well. Have a good rest of the day. Great, colleagues, that's item number 1. Is there a motion on the table to receive and accept these bids?
So move.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, we have a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move this item forthwith.
Yes, we will go ahead and take the voting tabulation at this time. We'll start with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam President, would you like to move this forward forthwith?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Great. Colleagues, this moves us now to item number 2 on today's agenda. This is in all council districts. It's a task order solicitation number SN91A and SN91B, amendment number 3 and budget increase, Brown and Caldwell Inc. and CDM Smith Inc. structural condition assessment of the North Outfall Sewer Phase 2. Recommending the board to 1. Authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation or her designee to issue amendment number 3 to task order solicitation SN91A to Brown and Caldwell to increase the task order solicitation contract ceiling amount by $725,000 from $2,121,000 increase to $2,121,000 to $2,845,000 to inspect large diameter sewers. The term of the engagement remains the same and is from July 22nd, 21 through July 22nd, 24. Number 2, authorize the Director of Bureau of Sanitation or her designee to issue amendment number 3 to task order solicitation SN91B to CDM Smith Inc. to increase the task order contract ceiling amount by $401,600 and from $1,481,000 to $1,881,600. I'm pretty sure I said that right. The term of engagement remains the same and is from July 22nd, 2021 through July 22nd, 2024. And 3, increase the total budget of task order solicitation SN-91 by $1,126,600 from $4 million to $5,126,600. Okay, Mr. Lopez, I take it you're here from sanitation to tell us what you're doing.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, Mr. Lopez, go ahead. I hope I read all those numbers right, which there's a lot of.
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers. Well,
all right, well, tell us
I'll
what
go
you're
over them
doing.
again, and then hopefully I read them correct too. So,
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Emilio Lopez. I'm an engineer with LA Sanitation and Environment, Wastewater Engineering Services Division. I oversee the planning for the critical infrastructure group and primarily the large diameter sewers under the direction of Ryan Tija and Ali Pusti. So today I'm briefing you on TOS SN91 Phase 2 of the structural condition assessment of the North Outfall Sewer. And today we are requesting board approval for amendment number 3. The additional budget in the amount of $1,126,600. Of that amount, $725,000 for TOS SN91A, which will go to Brown and Caldwell, and $400,600 for TOS 91B, which is CDM. If approved, the total budget would increase from $4 million to $5,126,600, an overall 28% increase. So the project background, a large component of the planning process involves televised inspections of our sewers to assess the remaining useful life of the asset. LA San has been implementing a rigorous sewer renewal program to reduce sewage spills, upgrade the aging system, and protect public health, safety, and the environment. The sewer system consists of 6,700 miles in total. The portion that we're talking about today is the large diameter sewer system, which consists of 700 miles. Of that 700 miles, approximately 24% has been inspected or has valid CCTV. The average age of the large diameter system is 67 years old, and the service life ranges from 60 to 100 years. Through 91, inspection efforts have continued from our previous TOS, which was 71. Which was the structural condition assessment of the NOS contract. TOS SN91 is the Phase 2, and it was to inspect the remaining portion of the North Outfall Sewer, which is the backbone of our collection system, which starts out in South LA and extends all the way up to Woodland Hills. And within 91, we are going to televise such large diameter sewers that are vulnerable in materials such as brick and concrete sewers in the Central Business District area. On November 30th, 2018, the board awarded 91 with a contract ceiling of $3 million, and 91 was divided into 3 subcontracts. 91A, which is Brown and Caldwell, with an initial cost ceiling budget of $1.12 million. 91B, which was CDM, with initial cost ceiling of $1.48 million, and 91C with HDR, with a cost ceiling of $400,000. The total combined approved award budget was $3 million. The primary scope for 91A and B in the beginning was to do inspections, and 91C was for QA/QC. Amendment 1 was approved by the board on November 4, 2019, for a cost ceiling increase for 91A to increase from $1.12 million to $2.12 million. The original scope was to inspect 13 miles. The additional budget was to add scope an additional 12 miles, which was needed to reduce the risk of sanitary sewer overflows, prioritize the sequence of rehabilitation projects, and also inspection needed in response to wet weather events. Through Board Report Amendment Number 1, the total combined budget of 91 went from $3 million to $4 million. On May 26, 2021, Amendment 2 was approved by the board to extend the schedule only. The contract expiration date was extended from July 2021 to July 22nd, 2024. The contract ceiling remained the same at $4 million. In this proposed amendment number 3, it is for specialized CCTV inspections and engineering assessment in response to the Hyperion water reclamation incident on July 11, 2021. The additional funding will allow LA San to replenish funds used to respond to that incident on an emergency basis, which includes engineering assessment of the 5 outfalls or large diameter lines leading into Hyperion, the headworks facility, and inside the plant. For technical engineering expertise reports and recommendations, the data collected from these assessments and recommendations will be used as action items for the LA San spill response. We recommend the board approve amendment number 3 to maintain a very aggressive inspection schedule and continue the project's current momentum, and to avoid any transition delays. The work would best be provided for amending the TOS rather than issuing a new TOS. To date, SN91 has inspected 21 miles out of 25, and 91B has inspected 62 miles out of 189 miles. That concludes my briefing. Do you have any questions or comments at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, for your very thorough report. I'll ask commissioners if they have any questions Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Lopez? We can start with you, Dr. Davis.
I don't have any questions at this time on the item.
No
for the
problem.
report. Mhm.
Got it. Mr. Corson?
No questions.
Got it. And VP Villegas?
I don't have any questions, but I'm glad that this is coming to our board. We've done a lot of work with these consultants. I'm glad that they're using the most up-to-date technology. I mean, that's what we used when we did the findings for that we pulled together for the ad hoc committee on Hyperion. And I think that this sonar technology will also help us in those deep areas that are hard to access. And so I'm grateful that this is part of that lessons learned to be able to check our drainage system. So thanks. I don't have any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. I don't have any big questions. So Mr. Lopez, you said that for SN91A and SN91B, they've already done a certain amount of, mileage of the sewers. Well, my understanding is that will be increased now, right? So I think you said they've done 60. I forget the numbers. I should have wrote it down. But the mileage will be increased. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes. So the money requested is for the Hyperion incidents. When the Hyperion incident happened, the money was set aside for emergencies for wet weather.
Oh yeah.
So that mileage would increase.
Okay, got it. All right. Commissioner, is there a motion to move this item forward on the table?
So moved.
Great. Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
I'll take it from Commissioner Corson. So there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Commissioner Corson to move this item forward and forthwith.
Great. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam President, would you like to move this forthwith? I believe you did make that statement earlier.
Yes, please.
Confirm. Thank you.
I'm going to try to include it in my statement so we don't have to go through that. But thank you, Dr. Campos. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Your item has now been approved. Have a good rest of the week.
Thank you.
Thank you. And good report, by the way. You were very thorough. Great. Colleagues, we're now moving on to item number 4. This is a item in Council District 8, a contract award, Pulp Inc., DBA Excel Paving Company. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me retrieve. I officially skipped item number 3. But item number 3, Dr. Campos, do you want to state number 3?
Thank you, President Garcia. I was going to interrupt, but I didn't want to do it just yet until there was a pausing moment. But there's been a request from the Bureau of Street Services to withdraw item number 3, in as much as some of the language needs to be revised on the report. It's my understanding that the Bureau of Street Services will resubmit a new report to your board for consideration next week. So therefore, the request is to withdraw item number 3 if there's no objections from your board.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. Any objections on withdrawing number 3? Hearing none, Dr. Campos?
Thank you. We will go ahead and make the note.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. I skipped ahead. I had it on my notes withdrawn, so I just skipped over it. All right. Now, going back to item number 4, since number 3 has been now withdrawn. Number 4, this is in Council District 8, a contract award for Pulp Inc., DBA Excel Paving Company, Active Transportation Program Cycle 3, Jefferson Boulevard Complete Streets, recommending the board to 1, declare Pulp Inc., DBA Excel Paving Company, Excel first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award Excel a contract for this project for $9,625,107.05. And two, authorize the president or two members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. And Arsen, you're back. You survived.
Good morning.
Good
Yes.
morning, Arsen. Go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Arsen Voskirchen, and I'm the Principal Civil Engineer for the Street Improvement Division of the Bureau of Engineering. The report before you today is for awarding a construction contract for the Active Transportation Program Cycle 3, Jefferson Boulevard Complete Streets Project. We recommend that the board declare PALP Inc., DBA Excel Paving Company to be the lowest responsible bidder and award Excel a contract for a construction of this project in the amount of $9,695,107.05. This project will implement complete streets treatments to improve Jefferson Boulevard between Vermont Avenue and Western Avenue, which includes buffered bicycle lanes, widened sidewalks, curb ramps, raised landscape median islands, enhanced crosswalks, traffic signal and striping improvements, new landscaping, and new street trees where there's currently inadequate shade. Figure 1 included in the report shows the limits of the project. The addition of the buffered bicycle lanes will remove one travel lane in each direction, which would reduce the vehicular travel lanes from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. This stretch of Jefferson is primarily on the mobility plan as a bicycle enhanced network street, which designates the street for high quality protected bike lanes. And in order to accomplish this, the lanes had to be reconfigured as necessary to repurpose travel lanes in each direction, one travel lane in each direction, to make room for the protected bike facilities. Lane reconfigurations provide safety measures by reducing vehicular speeds, shortening the crossing distances for pedestrians, and creating separate facilities for cyclists. There was public engagement throughout the development of the concepts for this project, even before the city became involved. A community-based organization was essential to that effort, along with the council office. Additionally, the Los Angeles Department of Transportation typically conducts a post-construction study to assess impacts of the project and identify any remedies to address any negative impacts, if there are any. And so the Los Angeles Department of Transportation and the Office of Councilmember Marquise Harris-Dawson supports this project. The project has been reviewed for environmental considerations. It was determined to be categorically exempt pursuant to the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act. The city engineer's estimate of the construction cost was $9,358,700. The lowest of the 3 bids received is for $9,695,107.05, which is 3.59% higher than the city engineer's estimate. This project is subject to the local business preference program, and BOE staff verified that the first low bidder, Excel, is a local business enterprise and that the local business preference program did not affect their status as the first low bidder. This project is also subject to the business inclusion program. The Bureau of Contract Administration's Office of Contract Compliance reviewed the documents submitted by Excel and determined that although the pledged amounts were lower than anticipated, Excel did comply with the BIP outreach requirements. Excel has worked on numerous contracts issued by your board, and no significant or unresolved problems were reported by the Bureau of Contract Administration for Excel. This project is funded by the State Active Transportation Program grant with city local funds and developer funds. The LADOT's Transportation Grant Fund and the Road Maintenance Rehabilitation Program Special Fund will provide a portion of the front funds. However, due to the complexity of grant funding as well as the availability of city funds, exact allocations and appropriations may change for the purposes of maximizing grant reimbursements, minimizing impacts to the city funds, while allowing work to proceed. And so provided that the total budget as authorized by your board is not exceeded, funding sources may be changed after award to align with the changes in funding appropriations and allocations. Funds and appropriations for future fiscal years are not yet identified, but have been discussed with the Office of the City Administrative Officer. However, sufficient upfront funding is available for this upcoming fiscal year 22-23, or through that year. And so the Bureau of Engineering recommends declaring Excel the first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award Excel the construction contract for this project. that concludes my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Arsen, for that very thorough report. Any questions, commissioners? We'll start with VP Villegas.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. I don't have any questions. I think it was thorough. I'm glad this project is going in for CD8, and I'm glad that you mentioned the whole outreach process that was done. So I don't have any questions. Good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. VP Villegas. Commissioner Corson, any questions?
Do you have a question? Forgive me, it's a little bit of a personal, subjective view. I have season seats with my brother for USC football, so I'm familiar with this area. Just to confirm that, and it has happened before, and it becomes a traffic nightmare. If there are going to be any plans to not have activity on game days specifically? And I say this having nearly run over someone, having also been nearly run over on Jefferson during game days when it is just frantic.
So during construction, the contractor will coordinate with special events, and so the contractor will have a traffic control plan that's reviewed and approved by DOT, and then would be implementing that traffic control plan during construction. And so as part of that, they do need to coordinate with any major events or special events happening during construction. After construction is completed, the DOT does do a study post-construction to see if the project negatively impact the area and the traffic flows, and so then to see if there's any remedies for that as well.
Okay, just from my personal experience, I've seen it when they were doing that stretch on Jefferson. They were doing work before, on game days, before people started arriving, while people were arriving, and it just was a big mess. So, not sure if there's a way to avoid that going forward.
Yes, we'll make sure to work with the contractor to make sure that their traffic control plans incorporate that, and that they work around that and accommodate the traffic conditions there. So we'll take note of that and implement it during construction.
Thank you.
Dr. Davis, Mr. Corson, any more questions for Arsen?
No, thank you.
Dr. Davis, any questions for Arsen?
Yeah, just some basic questions. Arsen, could you let me know about the time period of the project? What do we anticipate would be the duration of the project?
Sure. And so the duration of the contract duration is 640 calendar days, so approximately 2 years. And so once this is awarded, within a couple of weeks after that, we will issue the notice to proceed to the contractor. And so the duration will be 2 years or 640 calendar days from that notice to proceed.
Do we have a project labor agreement in terms of the opportunities for work on this project?
I don't believe this project is subject to the PLA. I can definitely follow up and provide more information on that.
Okay, and also in terms of well, I think that's it. Thank you for that. That'll be fine.
Commissioner Davis, this is Ted. I'm sorry to interject. I'm looking at the board's report
Yes.
right now, and it does indicate that the project incorporates the PLA.
It does have a PLA.
It does, yes. Thank you for that
Okay,
correction.
wonderful. Okay, wonderful. Because when we have these multi-million-dollar projects in these areas where we want to create more economic opportunity, it's always a wonderful thing if we can achieve that. So that's why I asked that question, and I'm very glad to hear that is the case there. So we look forward to, when did you say you'll start again?
We'll start within about 2 weeks after the award of this contract, and so that'll be when the NTP is issued. The field work will begin sometime after that, once the contractor is ready to mobilize. So it'll probably take a few months before we see active work on the ground. But the notice to proceed will trigger the start of the contract duration, and so then the contractor will be able to mobilize or begin mobilizing in a couple weeks.
Great. So we look forward to the implementation of this project, and I'm very pleased to know that there's some opportunity for project labor agreements on the project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. I too am happy that there's a PLA attached to this. I'm not so happy that we're losing a lane, and I'll say that again over and over again. So arson, especially not in that area, and then to the point that Mr. Corson just made, during game days, during activity days of USC, we all here know how heavy that can get. And so just putting another kind of stack onto your stack, the arson. So if you guys go out there and do any more traffic control or anything like that, please consider the game days and how that's going to be, affect all of this. And agreed with Mr. Corson. I'm giving you a doctorate degree already, Commissioner Corson. Commissioner Corson on really coordinating special events / construction, because maybe on the days that USC has a football game or any other of those big events, we don't do construction on that day, just to minimize already the traffic impact that's going to create.
Understood. Thank you. We'll definitely take that and implement that into the construction. And for post-construction, to help address some of the concern, we did discuss with DOT and looked into this a little bit further, and we found that the DOT, according to their data, they did have 5-year data at this location, which showed that there were over 250 crashes that occurred in this stretch over the last 5 years. And so based on the Federal Highway Administration's report, they cite that 36% of crash reductions are experienced when providing separate facilities for bicyclists. And so that's why part of this project is to provide those separate bicycle facilities in hopes of reducing the crash incidents that are occurring already at this location. And so that's part of why DOT and the city is moving towards providing these separate bicycle facilities here in order to help reduce some of the crashes that are being experienced there. And DOT will continue to monitor that post-construction to see that it is working.
Great. Thank you. That actually is very helpful to know. That there was some kind of metrics behind the decision on reducing a lane, but
Yes.
and glad to see that. But still, let's coordinate on the construction / game
Sure.
days and so forth. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you, Arson, for your very thorough report. Is there a motion on the table to move this item forward?
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Thank you, VP Villegas and Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, we have a motion on the table to move this item forward forthwith from VP Villegas and Dr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam President. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation, and we'll start with you.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Campos. Arson, have a good rest of the week. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. Moving on to item number 5. This is in all council districts. It's a contract amendment number 5, FSY Architects, Inc., pre-qualified on-call architectural services, various public buildings and open spaces projects, recommending the board to 1, approve and forward this report with transmittals to the mayor and city council requesting the following. A, approve amendment number 5 to the contract between the city of Los Angeles and FSY Architects, Inc., to extend the total contract term from March 21st, 2022 to March 21st, 2024. B, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute amendment number 5. Number 2, notify the Bureau of Engineering when this amendment is ready to be executed by the board, whereupon 5 original copies of the amendment will be delivered to the executive officer of the board for signature. 3, request the city clerk to attest and certify the 5 original copies of amendment number 5. The city clerk and the board will each retain 1 original copy, and 3 original copies are to be returned to the Bureau of Engineering. And 4, direct the city engineer and the Bureau of Contract Administration to report back to the board within 90 days on amendment number 5 to the contract between the city and FSY on the Minority Women Other Business Enterprise, MBE, WBE, OBE Subcontractor Outreach Program, as well as any updates to the contractual language and requirements. All right, Mr. Fierce, can you tell us what you are doing?
Yes, hi, thank you. So I'm here, the project I'm here to brief you on again is the Manchester Junior Arts Center Vision Theater. And the project involves building expansion and upgrades to the historic theater, which is located adjacent to the Landmark Park in South Los Angeles. The design for the project began in 2010 and consists of 4 phases. So as you just noted, the report recommends to approve Amendment Number 5, FSY Architects, to extend the total contract term from March 21, 2022 to March 21, 2024, and for BOA and BCA to report back to the board within 90 days on the Minority Women and Other Business Enterprise Subcontractor Outreach Program. The FSY contract has a total of 7 tasks, and 2 of the tasks are still active. BOE staff, in collaboration with FSY, began the preparation of this report approximately 6 months ago. And due to various task orders with similar and overlapping scope, we found discrepancies in the invoicing and sub-consultant utilization information provided by the consultant. During our preparation of this report, we had believed that we could reconcile information in time to include in this report. However, we were unable to reach agreement with the consultant in time, and but we have now been able to reconcile invoicing, and we are in progress of preparing the report back. The BOA and BCA will report back to the board within 90 days on the subcontractor outreach program, as well as any other updates to details of FY's sub-consultant utilization. So this amendment is for time extension only, and the contract amendment will be just to complete the professional services associated with the Vision Theater, the Manchester Junior Arts Project. The proposed amendment will extend the termination date of the contract for an additional 2 years, and this extension will enable the consultant to complete the project. The project was originally scheduled to be completed on August 30th, 2020, and is now scheduled to be completed in August 2022. As the architect of record, it is more feasible for FSY to complete the project, and amending FO's contract will ensure continuity for the project's completion. The city has set anticipated participation levels of 12% and 2% for MBE and WEB participations, respectively. As of our last reporting to the board, FSY's MBE participation level reported at 10.78%. The original pledge was 7.16%, and a WBE participation level of 7.14%, and their original pledge was 5.49%. With that ends my presentation. If you have any questions on this project, I was report.
Thank you, Mr. Fierce, for your report. Commissioners, any questions on this item? We can start with Dr. Davis.
Yes, I was briefed on the project, and then and now, my concern is how long it's taken us to just finish this project as I look cumulatively over time. I mean, it seems like it's been forever, and it seems like it's going to be forever before they finally finish it. Now we're talking about the March 24. It was originally scheduled to be finished this month, right, Mr. Freyes, was it?
Yes, this project has encountered a number of delays that has caused us to extend the schedule.
So, I mean, professionals have to do a thorough job, and, the processes for construction are what they are, and we certainly are not suggesting that they take a shortcut, but I just have to express my frustration that I'm sure is reflected in the community about how long it's taken us to restore this theater. You would think we were building the Taj Mahal or the Empire State Building up here. I mean, this is ridiculous. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Corson, any questions?
Just to follow Dr. Davis's comments, what is the scope of work that's left? That you know, is it just 2 years extension that they need? Is what I'm trying to understand, or will they need an additional year after that? I mean, maybe it would be helpful to know what is that scope that's left and what area of the work caused the delay.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, I think one of the major aspects of this, it's a historic preservation project. And it's really, we've encountered lots of unforeseen conditions as it relates to just the historic, preservation requirements and uncovering things that weren't visible by the design team at the time they were designing the project. And along with that, the scope of work for the theater equipment and the future operator who involved. And so those are where some of the scope of the work has changed to address kind of the advancements in technological performing arts requirements. And we also encountered, unfortunately, there was a fire at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic itself did cause some significant material supply delays for us. And so that also increased further delays. There's been a number of challenges with some of the abutting property neighbors that also, elongated some of our construction processes. So there's just been a number of things on this very complicated project, but the overall goal here is to really establish the state-of-the-art facility and deliver it for the community. So in terms of completion of the schedule, we are looking at this base contract that we have. That scope of work is pretty clearly identified, and we're very confident that that work should be done by around August of this summer. And there are some new scope of work that's being talked about that we've already been identifying and planning for. And that appears that we should be able to complete that by the end of the year, so probably January 2023. Then that would be followed by post-construction services. And that's why we're asking for the 2-year extension. The actual opening of the theater, that will be sent to the Department of Cultural Affairs, and there are specific requirements for the operator. So, but our construction work and post-construction will be completed within the 2 years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. And VP Villegas, any questions?
I don't have any questions. I can understand the line of questioning for today. Just with, you never know what you're going to uncover with a historical cultural piece, and then just keeping the integrity of that and making sure that we're providing the future constituents of this area or the users the best that we can. So. Not that that's going to make anybody feel any better, but I know that BOE is doing their due diligence. Thank you.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Mr. Fierce, so the opening of August 22, what is that? Because I'm hearing like 2 different dates going on here.
Yeah, well, the August 22 would fulfill the current scope of work for the project that we have for the contractor. And then absent of that, is some upgrades in regards to the theatrical equipment and the audiovisual systems that weren't in the original scope of work. And so that's being discussed and talked about how to do that right now. The Department of Cultural Affairs has an RFP out right now for an operator. And so they're working on some special requirements specific to the operator. So some of that work may take place from the conclusion of the base contract up in August. And then we feel that that work could take place up to the end of January is what we're projecting. But we'll be coming back to the board for that scope of work.
Okay, so just to get a clear date then, our construction work, we're hoping to be done, are you saying March of next year?
No, the base contract that we're talking about, this report covers, would be August of 2022.
So this August, okay.
That's right.
but the theater's not can't open yet because there's programming and audio visual technical upgrades that need to happen, right? Or installations, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And question: has FSY always been the contractor servicing the Vision Theater?
Yes, they're the architect. They're the lead of the design team.
Okay.
And they have been always the architect on this project from the start.
So I understand why we're picking them, but is there a reason why we're giving them kind of a pass of the contract subcontractor outreach program? I'm not saying we're giving them a pass. I know we're telling them they have 90 days to fulfill that piece of it, but is there a reason why we're letting them do that?
No, we're not gonna give a pass on it. What we're doing is we're just actually had to prepare the documentation, and so while we were preparing the documentation, because of the duration and length of the project, there were some inaccuracies in their invoicing, and we were trying to reconcile the numbers basically, and we just weren't able to get those reconciled in time for this report, given that their contract was expiring. So we wanted to get this report to you, and then get the amendment to extend the contract, and then we'll come back and report with their business inclusion numbers. That being said, as of the last reporting, which I believe is somewhere around October of 21, that we had the reconciliation of the numbers, they had exceeded their original pledges. So we feel pretty comfortable that we'll be in good shape on that. But
Okay. My only recommendation on this would be if you can just, pass a message to the contractors to no more delays. We want to make sure, we want to get this, closed up and ready to go as soon as possible, and it shouldn't be on our hands, DOE, to be kind of stalling the progress on this. So if you can just pass that along to the contractors on just as much as we can, no more delays. We want to get this work done.
yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right. Is there a motion to move this item forward, colleagues?
So move.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there? I'll second it, actually. Unless Dr. Davis, do you want to second it?
I'll second it as well.
Got it. All right. There's a first by Commissioner Villegas, a second by Dr. Davis, and myself to move this item forward forthwith. Dr. Campos.
Yes, we'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Davis, aye.
and Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Fierce, for your time, and I look forward to your next presentation that's going to tell us that we are done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the week.
You too. Bye.
All right. This moves us along to item number 6 on our agenda. This is in Council District 11, a motion to construction order Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant Emergency Division Maintenance Annex Facility Rehabilitation CIP 2515. Recommending the board to 1, authorize the execution of the construction order for this work to Myron Electric Construction Corporation in the amount not to exceed $1,500,000, including contingency. And that seems to be that all you want, right, Ethan? That's all.
Correct. That's it.
That's it.
Good morning, everyone. This is Ethan Wong with the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Engineering Division. So the motion before you is related to our Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant and the events that followed the July 11th spill that occurred and flooding that happened because of that spill. So on July 11th, during the flooding, the DMA facility, or the Division Maintenance Annex facility, is just adjacent to our Headworks facility where the initiation of the flooding happened. There is a basement level which houses an electrical room that powers the Division Maintenance Annex, or DMA facility, that got flooded during the event and damaged crucial electrical equipment that supplies the power to the DMA facility. The DMA facility is the headquarters of our operation and maintenance staff here at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. So this houses lockers and showers for all of the staff to use. And obviously this facility needs power. So after authorization from Commissioner Caloza, we mobilized our next available emergency contractor that was on our pre-qualified contractors list to report to the site and begin immediate work. This contractor was Myron Electric Construction Corporation. They reported to site on July 20th, assessed the damage, and were able to establish temporary power on by August 19th to power the facility. So the facility is currently in operation. Since that time, they have been furthering assessing damage and repairing wire and conduit, transformers, switchgear, things of that nature, to bring the permanent power back online and to basically rehab the electrical room and areas damaged by the flood. So on September 24th, we again, the original budget was $150,000 based on initial assessments. We asked for an emergency increase with Commissioner Clozo on September 24th of $580,000, making the total budget $730,000 for this project. And with ongoing work, additional work was discovered. We discovered some lead-based painted cable and did an environmental assessment of the facility and found that there was extensive lead and asbestos in the facility that needed to be abated. We also found that water damage extended to the medium voltage switchgear wiring, and that is critical for powering the facility, so that also needed to be replaced. In addition to that, concrete did spall off in certain areas due to the flooding, exposing rebar. So critical structural repairs to the facility are now required. So this requires an additional $770,000 cumulatively to be added to the current budget of $730,000. So that's why we're here from the board requesting an additional $770,000 be added to the budget to complete all the needed repairs to bring the DMA facility up to 100%, so we can restore that facility and turn operations over back to the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant staff. So the new budget would be a not to exceed amount of $1.5 million. So that completes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about that at this time.
Great, thank you, Ethan, for that report. Colleagues, any questions on Ethan's report? We'll start with Commissioner Corson.
Not really, maybe a question. You know, it's unfortunate that it took something like this to find health hazards like asbestos and you know, things like that. And I'm glad we're focusing on it, and I know, you know, your work to get it done is going to be great. But in other municipal buildings, does this set the stage to maybe figure out some of the older municipal buildings, if we can go investigate, figure out, and remove some of these health hazards before they become noticeable with, you know, because of emergencies and things like this?
Typically, like lead-based paint and asbestos, when not disturbed, aren't overly hazardous. But when we're doing like these rehab facilities, obviously, like we don't want asbestos to become friable or become airborne, where it can cause a hazard to workers and staff. So in these cases where we end up doing renovation to an older facility, and it is critical to abate that. In instances where existing facilities have been in operation for a long time and the hazardous material wouldn't necessarily be disturbed, it isn't as much a critical nature to abate them right then and there. But there are obviously we don't want these materials in city buildings where they can affect the health and safety of both the public and city employees. So each facility is kind of looked at for individually and based on budget and operational needs. Then they're assessed if those hazardous materials need to be removed and the timing of that. Does that answer your question, Commissioner?
It does. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. VP Villegas, any questions?
Thank you, and I'm glad that we're doing this work. This is part of our just recovery from the incident that happened. It's unfortunate that these areas got disturbed, but I'm glad that we're taking care of them now. And thank you for your report, Ethan.
Great, thank you, VP Villegas. And Dr. Davis, any questions?
None for me, and thank you for the update and the report.
Great, thank you, Dr. Davis. Same, Ethan, I don't have any questions. I'm glad that we are going to do this, but noted on Commissioner Corson's point, it took us this much to get to, really. Well, I'm glad we're going to make it healthier also for our staff and everybody in there, so thank you for that. Okay, any motions to move this item forward, colleagues?
So moved.
Great. Dr. Davis moved, I'll second it. There's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by myself, Dr. Campos, to move this item forward and forthwith.
Great. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Davis, aye.
And Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Great. Thank you, Ethan, for your time, and look forward to getting all those repairs done.
Thank you.
Great. Have a good rest of the week.
You too. Thank you.
All right. This now leads us, colleagues, to the last item on today's agenda. This is an administrative item in all council districts. The mayor has approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureau of Street Services to execute the approval of authority for expenditure in the amount of $80,377.50 to encumber funds to pay for training to individuals under the Sidewalk and Park Vending Program. Dr. Campos, we don't have anybody on this item, right?
That is correct. It's an administrative item.
Got it. Okay, is there a second to my motion to move this item forward?
Second that.
I'll second.
I take it from Commissioner Villegas. Is a first by me and a second by VP Villegas to move this item forward and forthwith, Dr. Campos.
Absolutely. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation, and we'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And this Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted. Madam President, would you like to move this forward forthwith?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, colleagues, that's the end of today's meeting. Very successful meeting again. And we are officially adjourned for Wednesday, March 23rd. Thank you, colleagues, and everyone else. Have a good rest of the week.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Somebody wants to leave?